In the year 1900 before the Common Era, a city died. Not with the thunder of invasion, not with the flame of conquest, but with a slow, choking silence as rivers turned to dust and memory turned to sand. For 3,700 years, the greatest city on earth was erased from human consciousness. Its name was never spoken. Its achievements were never taught. Its people, 40,000 souls, became ghosts without graves. This is the story of Mohenjo-daro, the mound of the dead men, and how the living world forgot that it had ever lived at all. Act I, the Erasure and the Mystery. Chapter 1, The Silence. Imagine a metropolis of 300 hectares, larger than ancient Ur, more populous than any contemporary Egyptian settlement. A grid of streets so precise that they could only have been planned by a central authority with surveying tools and mathematical knowledge. Now imagine it empty. By 1900 BCE, the people were gone. The wells dried up. The brick-lined drains choked with silt. The great bath stood cracked under a merciless sun. And the script, 400 distinct signs scratched into seals, pottery, and copper tablets, fell mute. No Rosetta Stone waited to translate it. No neighboring civilization recorded its legends. The Indus Valley Civilization simply stopped. And the world forgot. Alexander the Great marched past its ruins in 326 BCE and never knew what lay beneath his feet. Buddhist monks later built a stupa atop the citadel mound, never knowing they prayed on a Bronze Age monument to human ambition. For 37 centuries, Mohenjo-daro was nothing but a shape in the landscape, an elevation in the Sin Plains that locals called the Mound of the Dead. The erasure was total. Until a diabetic Bengali archaeologist, shivering in the winter winds of 1922, decided to dig. Rekaldas Banerjee was an officer of the Archaeological Survey of India. He had first surveyed the site in 1919. But in the winter field season of 1922 to 1923, he sank his shovel into the HR area and realized, with a shock that would rewrite human history, that he was looking at a city 5,000 years old. Banerjee was a chronic diabetic. The cold winds of Larkana made him sicker. By March 1923, carbuncular sores forced him back to Bombay. But before he left, he uncovered seals, pottery, and evidence of a forgotten civilization. He wrote to his superior, Sir John Marshall, Director General of the Archaeological Survey of India, with a letter that should have made him immortal. It did not. Marshall suppressed Banerjee's reports and claimed credit for the discovery. In 1931, when Marshall published the official 3-volume account, Mohenjo-daro and the Indus Civilization, he buried Banerjee in a footnote. Archaeologist P.K. Mishra later accused Marshall of systematic suppression. The world knows Marshall discovered the ruins, Mishra said. Banerjee is an insignificant footnote. The erasure of Mohenjo-daro was bad enough. But even its rediscovery was stolen from the man who achieved it. Banerjee died in 1930, at age 45. He never saw the city he unearthed become a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1980. He never lived to defend his name. Act 2, The Rise and the Glory. Chapter 2, The Grid. Now we reverse engineer the miracle. Strip away the dust. Roll back the calendar to 2600 BCE. Mohenjo-daro is alive. 40,000 people move through streets laid out on a perfect grid. Main avenues intersect smaller lanes at precise right angles. The city is divided into 2 sectors, the citadel on the western mound, raised 12 meters high on a platform of mud brick, and the lower eastern town, where workers, merchants, and craftspeople live in dense, standardized blocks. The bricks tell the story of control. Every baked brick adheres to a 1:2:4 ratio. 7 by 14 by 28 centimeters. Whether in a palace wall or a servant's latrine, the module is identical. This is industrial standardization, maintained across 300 hectares by an authority with the power to enforce uniformity on thousands of labours over centuries. But the true miracle lies beneath your feet. Mohenjo-daro built the world's first comprehensive sewage system. Covered brick-lined drains run parallel to every major street, connecting to household latrines and bathing platforms. Soak pits absorb excess water. Inspection holes allow municipal workers to clear blockages. Wastewater flows through corbelled arch drains toward the Indus River. In an age when Egyptian nobility used simple chamber pots and Mesopotamian cities dumped waste into open gutters, Mohenjo-daro had achieved civic hygiene as a collective human right. Over 700 wells puncture the city, one for every 3 houses. The circular brick well design has no parallel in Egypt or Mesopotamia at this time. Whoever planned Mohenjo-daro was thinking in centuries. Chapter 3: The Bath. At the heart of the citadel stands the structure that most unsettles archaeologists, the Great Bath. Discovered in 1926 by Ernest Mackay, it measures 12 meters long, 7 meters wide, and 2.4 meters deep. The floor consists of 2 skins of sword brick set on edge in gypsum mortar, with a layer of natural bitumen, tar, sandwiched between them to render the pool completely waterproof. 2 wide staircases lead down into the water. A ledge 1.4 meters high extends the full width of the bath. An outlet connects to a high corbelled drain that disgorges used water outside the mound. Across the street, a building with multiple rooms, 3 verandas, and 2 staircases has been identified as a possible house of priests. The Great Bath is the earliest public water tank in the ancient world. No contemporary civilization, not Egypt, not Sumer, not Minoan Crete, had built anything comparable. The ambition is staggering. The execution is flawless. And the meaning is lost. Chapter 4: The Mind. Mohenjo-daro was more than brick and plumbing. It was a civilization of the mind. Archaeologists uncovered an ivory ruler calibrated to approximately 33.5 mm per unit, an angular, or finger width. The subdivisions are decimal, marked with an accuracy of 0.13 mm. That is 5/1000ths of an inch. The decimal system was not an abstraction here. It was built into the city. Standardized cubical stone weights have been found by the hundreds, 698 from Mohenjo-daro alone, another 306 from Harappa. They form a binary and decimal progression, consistent across every major Indus site. A weight from Mohenjo-daro matches one from Mohenjo-daro, hundreds of kilometers away, to within statistical insignificance. This is a managed economy, taxation, rationing, long-distance exchange, regulated by a shared metrology no other Bronze Age civilization achieved at this scale. Seals bearing the Indus script, flat rectangular stamps of steatite, often depicting bulls, elephants, rhinoceros, or the mythical unicorn, have been recovered by the thousands. Archaeologist Iravatham Mahadevan noted that over 1,500 inscribed objects had been found at Mohenjo-daro alone. The script is read right to left. Some texts are boustrophedon, alternating direction, like an ox ploughing a field. It is logosyllabic. It has never been deciphered. 400 distinct signs. Strings of 5 to 7 characters per seal. Enough complexity to suggest a full writing system. Yet no bilingual inscription has ever been found. We cannot read a single word they left behind. Chapter 5: The Art. If the script is silent, the art speaks. In 1926, Ernest Mackay excavated the Dancing Girl from the HR area, a bronze figurine 10.5 centimeters tall, cast using the lost wax technique around 2300 to 1750 BCE. She stands with one hand on her hip, 24 bangles on her left arm, 4 on her right, a necklace with 3 pendants, and her hair in a bun resting on her shoulder. Her pose is so naturalistic that John Marshall reportedly said, "When I first saw them, I found it difficult to believe that they were prehistoric." Archaeologist Gregory Possehl called her the most captivating piece of art from an Indus site. The Priest King, excavated by Kashinath Dikshit in 1925 or 1926 from the DKB area, is a steatite bust 17.5 centimeters high, baked at over 1000 degrees Celsius. A bearded man with a fillet around his head, wearing a cloak with trefoil and circle motifs originally filled with red pigment. His eyes may have held inlay. The sculpture combines naturalistic detail with stylized power. These objects were divided at the partition of India in 1947. Pakistan received the Priest King. India retained the Dancing Girl. 12,000 artifacts were split, sometimes literally, necklaces separated bead by bead into 2 piles. The civilization that built one of history's most unified urban cultures was divided by colonial cartography. Act 3, The Fall and the Injustice. Chapter 6, The Death. If the rise was systematic, the fall was ecological. The decline began around 2200 BCE, the 4.2 kilo-year event, a global climatic catastrophe that triggered drought across North Africa, the Middle East, and South Asia. At the same time the Akkadian Empire collapsed and Egypt's old kingdom fractured, the Indus Valley began to dry. Paleoclimate data reveals a pronounced shift in oxygen isotope ratios around this period. Monsoon rainfall decreased. The Sarasvati River, a major tributary supporting eastern Harappan settlements, dwindled to a seasonal stream and eventually vanished. In the west, the Indus itself shifted course, depriving Mohenjo-daro of the agricultural hinterland that fed its people. A 2025 study in Communications Earth and Environment used climate simulations to identify severe droughts exceeding 85 years in duration during this interval. The final extended summer monsoon drought, between 35-31 and 30 for 18 years before present, coincides precisely with the de-urbanization and abandonment of major Harappan centers. The people did not vanish overnight. Standardized brick production stopped. Drainage maintenance failed. Squatters moved into abandoned structures. By 1900 BCE, the mature Harappan phase was over. Mohenjo-daro was a ghost city. But for decades, archaeologists blamed the wrong villain. Chapter 7, The Lie. In the mid-20th century, Sir Mortimer Wheeler proposed that Mohenjo-daro had been destroyed by invading Aryan hordes. He pointed to skeletons in the upper levels and to Rigvedic hymns describing battles between Aryas and Darsas. The Aryan invasion theory became textbook truth across the Western world. It was a lie. The conventional date for the arrival of Indo-Aryan speakers is around 1500 BCE, for full centuries after Mohenjo-daro was abandoned. In none of the approximately 120 Harappan sites excavated to date has any evidence of invasion or large-scale destruction been found at the end of the mature phase. The so-called massacre victims were buried at different stratigraphic levels, they died centuries apart. As archaeologist B. Lal demonstrated, and as Gregory Possehl confirmed in 2002, the destruction by invasion thesis has been abandoned by mainstream archaeology. The Cemetery H culture at Harappa and the Juka culture at Mohenjo-daro are post-abandonment squatter occupations, not evidence of conquest. The Aryan invasion theory was a colonial narrative that served British imperial interests by portraying Indian civilization as a product of external conquest rather than indigenous achievement. It erased the urban sophistication of the Indus Valley and replaced it with a myth of Northern European superiority. The people who built Mohenjo-daro, who invented standardized weights, decimal measurement, municipal sewage, and perhaps the world's first public health system, were written out of their own story. The erasure was not accidental. It was ideological. Act 4: The Reckoning and the Legacy. Chapter 8: The Unread Library. Today, Mohenjo-daro stands as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, the first in South Asia, designated in 1980. But the city keeps its secrets. 400 signs. 1,500 inscribed objects. And not one of them translated. The Indus script remains one of the great undeciphered writing systems of the ancient world. Unlike Egyptian hieroglyphs, which yielded to Champollion's Greek bilingual, or cuneiform, which Rawlinson cracked using Behiston's trilingual inscription, the Indus corpus offers no bilingual text, no known descendant language, and no historical name for the civilization that produced it. The Indus script font, developed by Amar Fayaz Bariro and Shabir Kumpher in 2017, encodes the corpus for digital study. But the meaning remains locked. If we could read it, what would we learn? The names of kings who never built pyramids? The hymns of priests who never carved temples? The tax records of a state that distributed grain through air-ducted granaries? The love poems of a civilization that cast bronze dancers with 24 bangles and a half-impudent smile? We do not know. And we may never know. But the absence of decipherment is itself a revelation. Mohenjo-daro had no monumental palaces. No royal tombs. No temples. No standing armies. The absence of offensive weapons is almost total. What kind of civilization builds a city of 40,000 people, regulates its economy with standardized weights, manages its waste with municipal drains, and produces art of transcendent beauty without centralized kingship, without priestly theocracy, without military coercion? Perhaps the most radical thing about Mohenjo-daro is not what it built. It is what it chose not to build. Chapter 9: The Return. Rekaldas Banerjee died in 1930, his health broken, his report suppressed, his discovery attributed to another man. Sir John Marshall died in 1958, knighted and celebrated. The partition of 1947 split the artifacts, the site, and the scholarly community. Pakistan inherited the mounds. India inherited the memory. The British inherited the credit. But the city endures. Beneath the Sind sun, the baked bricks still hold their 1:2:4 ratio. The bitumen in the Great Bath still resists water. The drains still angle toward the river. And somewhere, in the 400 signs that no one can read, the people of Mohenjo-daro still speak, in a voice that has outlasted every empire that tried to claim or erase it. Mohenjo-daro was not destroyed by enemies. It was abandoned by circumstance, by rivers that shifted and rains that failed. Its people did not vanish. They moved eastward and southward, carrying their weights and their measures into new settlements along the Ganges. And the next time someone tells you that civilization requires kings, or temples, or armies, remember the grid. Remember the drains. Remember the girl with the bangles, standing for 4,000 years with her hand on her hip, knowing exactly who she was. The mound of the dead men is not a grave. It is a proof. A proof that human beings once built something rational, hygienic, beautiful, and peaceful, without cruelty as its foundation. We forgot them for 37 centuries.